Good day to everyone. I am Ashoka Dharmasena, one of the acute medical consultants working in leading teaching hospital in the United Kingdom. Due to this global pandemic of coronavirus, COVID-19, I have been involved with COVID patients consecutively for more than 10 months now, and I gathered a lot of experience by dealing with them. The reason that I decided to make this program was we noticed in the news broadcastings that there were hundreds and thousands of gatherings in my country, gathering in queues and seeking faith healing methods such as this various type of penny, and their behavior is not right, and that can cause more harm than good. I don't blame them because they don't have the basic knowledge about this COVID-19, and it is due to the lack of health education regarding the current virus COVID-19. So as a result, I decided to give a small explanation and little bit of a educatory program as to this COVID-19 virus and how does it behave, and what should be taken to prevent that from spreading from person to person. As you all know, the most powerful countries in the world exceeded the daily death toll more than 4,000, and in the United Kingdom, the death toll daily death toll exceeded once more than 1,000, and in great countries like Russia, they exceeded their daily death toll above 500 consecutively for a long time. And even in India, there were huge number of deaths due to COVID-19 pandemic, and this is the first and most dangerous challenge in front of the whole world today. So what is a virus basically? Yes, and were the viruses there in the world even before this? Okay, we will just have a brief discussion about that. A virus is a tiny agent which can cause infections, infective diseases, or what you call contagious diseases. Virus is one of them. There are so many agents: bacteria, virus, fungus, and unicellular organisms are among them. So, were there any viral pandemics like this in the world even before this? Yes. 100 years ago, that was in 1918, there was a pandemic called Spanish flu, which caused huge number of deaths all over the world. And this is after 100 years that we got this COVID-19, initially found from China and spreaded all over the world, and we are suffering throughout for more than 1 year now. How does this COVID-19 virus behave? How does it spread from person to person? Let's look into that. Suppose that one person got COVID-19 and he becomes symptomatic with COVID-19 illness. Whenever he coughs, whenever he speaks, or whenever he sneezes, or whenever he sings, the droplets of this respiratory system and our mouth comes into the environment, and these droplets contain this virus. Usually these droplets are a bit heavier, and the virus is also relatively larger than the basic normal viruses, and there is a possibility that it will shoot a distance above 1 meter, nearly 1 meter, and drops into the surfaces or drops into the ground after that. So if somebody is closer, there is a possibility that person will inhale these droplets, and by the respiratory system this virus can get into the body of the other person. The other way is these viruses land on the surfaces when somebody sneezes, coughs, speaks, sings, or with the droplets. So this virus can survive in the surfaces for longer period. Sometimes they say that on the plastic surfaces and metal surfaces they live longer than days and days. So if somebody touches these surfaces and the contaminated hand touches the face, the virus can enter into our face, and by that the virus can go into the respiratory system and cause the illness. Even in human excreta, they say the virus can survive for more than 2 days. So contamination with human excreta also can cause our hands contaminated with this virus, and when we touch the face, the virus can go into our respiratory system. So if you want to prevent this virus from spreading from one person to another, there are a few things that we have to do. Let's analyze and see how does this virus act in a population, a group of population. For an example, if 100% of the population get this virus, 80% of them will not show symptoms or either show mild symptoms, and they will get cured without any treatment. Out of the rest of the 20, 15% will show bit moderate to severe illness, and out of 5% of that 20 will definitely need hospital admission and also ITU admission, and they will undergo ventilation in the ITU. Even out of that 5%, when we analyze the global situation, we can see about 2 to 3% will die. So in a group of population, if you analyze 100 people, there's a possibility that out of that around 98% will recover from this infection, and only 2% has the risk of death. But when we analyze the Sri Lankan situation, and if we analyze the cases in Sri Lanka, what we can see is there are about 50,000 cases, and the death rate was about 250. So as a percentage, roughly it will be about 0.5, nearly there. What is the difference? Actually, there are so many reasons for this type of a difference. One is we are near the equator. There is a theory that near the equator, the vitamin D levels of people are okay because of the sunlight. And when we go away from the equator, the sunlight is less and less, and the vitamin D levels of the body is getting less and less. It doesn't mean that in the people in equator, this virus is not infective. For an example, you knew that there were huge number of cases in India, but the defense mechanism, the ability to face the virus is more with people who are well enough in vitamin D in their body. So the recovery rate varies from far north, far south countries, and when we come towards the equator, the recovery rate is getting more and more. So in other words, they are less susceptible for death. That may be one of the reasons that our death percentage is around 0.5. The other reason is we don't know whether we are really detecting the cases, and the statistics are still not complete. Not only that, there are so many variations among the population when we grossly say that 98% will cure. For an example, ladies are more blessed with COVID-19. Men are more vulnerable. That means there's a possibility that if a lady get COVID-19, she will recover, and more possibility for her to recover than a gent. Not only that, from little children towards the elderly population, again there is a variation. Whenever a little children get this disease, they show only mild symptoms, and after that they recover. When the age grows, for an example, when somebody comes above 40, the risk is more. Above 50, the risk is more than that. And when it comes to above 60, 70, and above 80, the risk is high. Above 80, the risk goes somewhere around 12%. But again, it depends upon the population, depend upon population to population, and there are variations. And also, it is very strange that this disease, for unknown reason, is not much transmitted from children to adults, but it can get from adults to children. We don't know the scientific basis on that. Let's discuss about the symptoms of this COVID-19. If somebody get COVID-19, how does it behave? As I mentioned earlier, 80% of them will not show any symptoms, or it will be mild symptoms, which is like common cold. Some people may get headaches, some people may get sore throat, some people may get mild temperature, feeling cold, chills and rigors, muscle pains, body aches, dry cough. Dry cough is very common. And also, you may lose your sense of taste and smell. But not each and every COVID-19 patients get this loss of taste and smell. So it doesn't mean that you don't have COVID if you don't lose taste and smell. Still you can have COVID without losing taste and smell. But dry cough is very common. Fever, headache, dry cough, and some people present with diarrhea and vomiting. And also difficulty in breathing, and various type of blood clots, maybe in the coronary arteries, and you can get heart attacks, maybe in the lungs you can get pulmonary embolisms, maybe in the calves, and you can get deep vein thrombosis. So all these presentations are possible with COVID-19. Why do the people die of COVID-19? Well, there are various ways, as I mentioned. Mostly they die of respiratory arrest, respiratory failure. They can't breathe. It is something like soaking your lungs with water and you can't breathe. That is why many people need ventilations. So that is the commonest way of dying of COVID-19. But there are occasions that the patients may die of heart attacks, pulmonary embolism, that means blood clots in the lungs, and by exaggerating their other illnesses like high blood pressure or diabetes or their respiratory conditions or their chronic illnesses can be precipitated by COVID-19. Also, there are a lot of complications of this COVID-19, such as long-standing respiratory illnesses and fatigue, that means weakness of the body lasting longer, and there could be occasions that people go into psychosis with COVID-19. And also there is a condition called chronic long COVID syndrome. There's a condition called long COVID syndrome in which the COVID patient persistently show the symptoms and persistently spreading the COVID virus and going on for days and days and months. That is very rare. That is called long COVID syndrome. And when it comes to the children, they get a bizarre type of illness and within few days they get cured. Why do the people die of COVID-19? Well, there are various ways, as I mentioned. Mostly, they die of respiratory arrest, respiratory failure. They can't breathe. It is something like soaking your lungs with water and you can't breathe. That is why many people need ventilations. So that is the commonest way of dying of COVID-19. But there are occasions that the patients may die of heart attacks, pulmonary embolism, that means blood clots in the lungs, and by exaggerating their other illnesses like high blood pressure or diabetes or their respiratory conditions or their chronic illnesses can be precipitated by COVID-19. Also, there are a lot of complications of this COVID-19, such as long-standing respiratory illnesses and fatigue, that means weakness of the body lasting longer, and there could be occasions that people go into psychosis with COVID-19. And also there is a condition called chronic long COVID syndrome. There's a condition called long COVID syndrome in which the COVID patient persistently show the symptoms and persistently spreading the COVID virus and going on for days and months. That is very rare. That is called long COVID syndrome. And when it comes to the children, they get a bizarre type of illness and within few days they get cured. So what should we do to prevent COVID-19? Yes, first thing is health education. All the people around the world should be educated about COVID-19 and how it behaves and how it is transmitted from person to person. Keeping distance, safe distance, and washing your hands, wearing a mask, cleaning the surfaces where the virus can live for days and days, and commonly touching surfaces like door handles, computer keyboards, rails, and other plastic and metal surfaces, the floor. We have to disinfect or clean them as much as possible. And also the COVID-19 virus is very susceptible for soap. So it is ideal if you can wash your hands and the surfaces with soap solutions, because the virus cannot survive in soap solution for a long time. Also, you can use disinfectants, but it should contain, as you all might have already heard, more than 60% of alcohol should be there to disinfect. But the problem with disinfectants is if you rub the disinfectant in your hand, it is not equally rubbed everywhere. That is why washing hands is more preferable than disinfecting the hands with alcohol solution. Also, the COVID-19 virus is very susceptible to heat above 60 degrees of centigrade. It get destroyed if you boil the clothes, or if you boil the equipments, or if you boil the virus above 60 degrees of centigrade. So that is also something that the virus, that you can kill the virus in your clothes, or in the clothes of the patients, or their utensils like clothing things. You have to dispose the surgical masks, or whatever the cloth mask, or whatever the personal protective equipments that you use to prevent COVID-19 should be properly disposed. They should not put into the environment freely. Either you have to destruct them by burning or in a proper way. Also, the excreta, human excreta, or human excreta and washing out should be disposed only through the drainage system, because human excreta also can contain COVID-19 virus. Do not touch men. What does it mean? Don't touch your mouth, eyes, nose with your hand without washing the hand, because that is the easiest and commonest way of transmission this virus from surfaces and environment to your body. Also, you have to quarantine if you get involved directly with a COVID patient without personal protective equipments, and the quarantine period should be correctly spent in a quarantine separate way. And also, if you are infected with COVID-19 virus, you have to self-isolate for 14 days if you don't show symptoms. But if you are symptomatic, they say after 10 days you are not infective anymore. So if you don't show symptoms, you have to isolate 14 days. And if you show symptoms from the date that you started showing symptoms, you have to isolate 10 days. But these things are very, time to time they give new guidelines, so you have to be very careful about these things. And also we have to remember that one can show symptoms, but even before showing symptoms, one can be infective. So we have to be very careful about these things, because nobody exactly knows how does this virus behave. The other way to prevent this virus infection is vaccination. So we have a new era now. There are various type of vaccines produced all over the world now. Let's talk about the treatments. Do we have any treatment for COVID-19? Unfortunately, we don't have any treatment either in the Western medicine or in the Sinhalese or in the Ayurvedic medical systems, or Unani, or whatever the medical systems persisting in the world. The only medication which can help is dexamethasone, but it doesn't cure COVID-19, but it gives a supportive little bit of a support to the patients to get rid of respiratory symptoms, and it will shorten the course of illness. So this is the most dangerous situation, as we don't have any medical cure for this viral illness. Therefore, the only therapy that we can give is a supportive therapy, and best thing is health education. Vaccination is on the way now, and isolation and being in the quarantine help to prevent the spread of this virus, and those are the options that we have in front of us. No, not a single country in the world can go forward after closing down the systems anymore. So everybody all over the world, we all have to learn how to live with COVID-19 until we find a proper cure for this virus. Thank you so much.